Hey there. I'm Pete Austin, and I'm the founder of Small Business Careers Ed. I want to talk to you today about the comparison of being a small business owner and being an employee in a giant company. So I'm going to compare them based on four different criteria, one of which is income, another of which is opportunity, a third of which is the business cycle, and a fourth of which is the environment. It's a huge subject. I'm going to just touch the highlights here for you today. Okay. Income. If you work in a big business, average salaries are around $66,000. You can figure on $75,000 with additional perks, and there's very few and far between on perks. You're allowed to put money into your 401k as an employee deferral. I suppose that's a perk. The problem with that is it's all taxable, except for the money you put in the 401k. It's all taxable. Let's shift over to the small business environment. Well, actually, before we do, I'm going to point out that if you work for a big company, the big company wants to bill out 2.5 times what they pay you. They need to be making 2.5 times in order to pay you what you get. So you're only getting 40% of what they earn for you. Who gets the rest? The company owners, the shareholders. Oh my God, those shareholders are extremely greedy. So that's what you're limited to. Okay, that's why your earnings are $66,000, $75,000 with the perks. Let's switch over to a small business now. A small business is set up totally different. Let's say the average income of a small business is $150,000 a year. You can argue, you can say, well, gee, the salaries paid to small business are $68,000 a year. Well, guess what? I know plenty of very successful small businesses who don't pay any salary to themselves. Why should they? Salary is the worst form of income you can have. It's so highly taxed. You work for a big business as an employee, you're whacked with taxes. You work for a small business, that same income, you're going to pay a lot less taxes. If you get 75,000 as a small business, you'll be able to deduct a whole bunch of it. And quite legally. That's the way our country works. Your big company is deducting a ton of things that they're not paying tax on. Okay, getting back to big business. Let's suppose that the average income of a big business is somewhere between a small business, somewhere between 120,000 and 150,000. I mean, after expenses, okay? They get to apply a whole bunch of deductions. Let me mention one. They can have a deduction for retirement plans that's far bigger than what you're getting as your employee deferral. Far bigger. They have deductions for other stuff like cars, like business expenses, etc. That's part of the business expense. Now, it's really spent on them, but it's for them as a small business, so they get to deduct it. You don't get to do that. So if I get $150,000 as a small business person, I'm probably going to pay less tax than you do, earning $75,000 as an employee of a big company. Is it fair? Yeah, it's fair. That's the way our economy works. We treasure our businesses. Businesses have to expand. Okay, so that's the level of income. Remember that 2.5 times, huh? You could be doing so much better in small business. Let's talk about opportunity now. If you work in a big business, you're very limited on your opportunity. For one thing, you can't pass your job on to your kids. You just can't do that. For another, you're restricted to what the company decides to do with you. For a third thing, if you work really hard, so what? They don't have to increase your salary. Usually they don't. Usually you're in a quantified structure. Now, over in small business, the thing about small businesses, they have to be flexible. I have many business clients of mine, small business clients, who have 3 or 4 things going with their business, not just one. They're adaptable. You have to be adaptable. You have to switch when the need to switch is there. but you earn money doing that. You earn a lot more money. You can't do that as an employee of a big company because the big company won't let you switch. They're just not capable of it. I want to mention here in terms of opportunity this idea of working on the internet. On the existing internet, some of my clients make fantastic amounts of money. They're servicing buyers and sellers. They're go-betweens, right? They have a buyer who's got a need. They got a seller who's got something that's needed. They bring them together. They make their money and get the heck out of town and go on to something else. Tremendously profitable. They can work anywhere they want. They don't have to work in an office. They work at home, many of them. There's another issue there, though. We're creating a separate internet that's solely for small business. Solely for small business. No big business. Google people, they all try to steal your entrepreneurial ideas. No governments. Big governments somehow want to indebt you with a whole lot of debt that you take on. Don't take on debt if you're a small business. You don't need it. And no politics. Go to Google if you want politics. Okay. We're going to create 100 million new small business careers in America on top of the 80 million that we already have. We're going to have a total of 200 million small business careers in America. Oh, yes, we are with that new internet. By the way, if you own a small business and you think you're doing great, come on into us. We'll show you ways of increasing your net income at least 20%. We'll show you that in a heartbeat. That's our job. Many small businesses, they get to a certain level of income. They say, okay, that's it. And they don't bother ever trying to improve themselves again. We can show you how. All right. So that's opportunity. And I could spend an hour talking just about that. But let's move on. Let's move on to the business cycle. If you're in a big company, and you're in a recession, and a recession's coming very soon, trust me. During the 2007 recession, big companies laid off about 30% of their employees, or they went out of business and boom, those employees lost their job. That's just what happens. That's what's coming probably in the next year, all right? Whole bunch of layoffs. We've been due for it. We're overdue by at least 3 years for it. You lose your job. That's it. You're gone. Small business thrives on recessions. That's when the number of small businesses grows, and we're going to expand it way more than it's ever been expanded before. People who come out of the big companies are left without jobs. Many of them turn to starting their own small businesses. Many of them become very successful, and we will help you at Small Business Careers Ed. If you lost your job with a big company, don't be sending your resume into 90 people. Come with us, learn what business is about. We'll help you get started in your own small business. You'll fail, we'll help you tweak it. You'll fail, we'll help you tweak it again. And eventually you'll be up and running. And my hope is you just don't stop when you're making $150,000 a year. Don't stop, keep improving, because you're helping to improve the world. Okay, so the business cycle, anyone you ask will tell you small businesses, the explosion in the numbers of small businesses are always the ones to lead America out of a recession. That's true. But ask yourself another key question. Go and ask your small business friends, your friends who own small businesses, would you go back to working for a big company? You know the answer you'll get? No. Hell no. Why? Because they think it's a toxic environment, because they think it totally limits their freedom, and they don't get to make as much money. They aren't getting what they've earned. Right? 3 big giant reasons for doing it. Lastly, the environment. The environment. Big business, unfortunately, is toxic. It's becoming fascist under the last 5-8 years. I guess it's the big tech companies trying to control everybody. You know how it is. It's like big government. They're fascist. You've got a dictator at the top, and he's got company police who want to know everything you're doing. You're restricted in what you think. You're restricted in how you vote. You're required to toe the party line and all this crazy stuff that's coming up, right? It's part of the culture. You're forced into stuff. You are, unfortunately, a fascist if you work for a big company. Many of the big tech companies are fascist organizations. Okay, so if you work for a small business, Totally different culture. Absolutely different. Why? Small businesses, a small business owner has 1,000 customers and no bosses. Small business owner has to provide service to the customers. He can't be making political decisions. Well, are you? He doesn't make political decisions. What he does is he keeps his customers happy. The employees who work for small business are so in touch with the customers. They understand the rule is the customer is the one you keep happy first. You do what you got to do to keep the customer happy. The environment in a small business is civil. It's civil. Small businesses believe in the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I think that's the primary reason for working in small business, the freedom, the civility, the fact that you make more money, the fact that you're doing what you love doing, the fact that you can pass it on to your kids and grandkids. You can't do that if you work for a company. So, small is civil, big is fascist, big is toxic. Thanks.